Hey sports fans, Coach Nick here on YouTube. Welcome to my locker room show. I can't tell if it's working properly because my computer seems to be completely freaking out. So let me know if you can hear this and see this over on the YouTube side. Thank you for everyone joining us over on Locker Room. It sounds like you guys, this is working with my headphones. But don't forget, if you're on the Locker Room app, if you don't have it, download it on the iPhone and you can get in here and ask me some questions and chop it up about the NBA. I'll be here for an hour. Every Wednesday, every Sunday. 11 a.m. Pacific, here I am. So, welcome everybody. Great to see everybody here. Hope you guys have been enjoying the videos recently. They've been a lot of fun to do, and certainly people have been watching them. That's nice. And how are we doing over on Locker Room? Can everyone still hear me over there? Give me one more quick check just to make sure, because I'm not so sure this is working so well, but we'll see. The other problem here is if anybody asks me a question on Locker Room, what was going to work on YouTube, you can see is a black screen of my phone, which most likely will not have the sound either. I don't know what happened. I hit a button, something about screen mirroring. I didn't realize it, and now it's not happy. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. But if you have questions on YouTube, let me know. If you have questions over here in the Locker Room, you can always join in, and we'll kind of, I don't know, I'll somehow figure out how people on YouTube can hear me. But let's jump in. So let's see here. What did we do yesterday? Interesting video I dropped on Nikola Jokic, which you should check out if you haven't, because I went through some fundamental interesting things about how they actually generate his assists. It's not just sort of random motion, people running around doing all kind of crazy stuff. I do look like on my computer, I'm kind of curious. Let me save this. If am I frozen over on YouTube? Let me know. Do I look okay? It looks like it's frozen to me on my side. But I'll get to your questions over on YouTube soon, really quickly. So anyway, let's get back to the Nikola Jokic thing, because it's really interesting because there's not that many different ways they have of getting him his touches, and as a result, like when they throw the ball to the low post, they fill the weak side corner like every time. So he literally could just throw the ball there without even looking, knowing there would be somebody there. Now, of course, the defender has something to say about that. But that's one thing that's interesting, is that you'll see him do these no-look passes to the weak side corner, and he just knows that these guys there. And so what's cool about it is he could probably check and see, okay, I know this guy is open, and I don't have to worry. I can save that for a minute. Let me just see if there's another pass right here for a second or two. Okay, no, boom, I'll throw it, that weak side pass, and it's pretty exciting to watch. Another thing they do is they'll do a high ball screen and then roll him to the free throw line, and that's where you get all those really great, cutting and all those quick, passes from the elbows for the layups and stuff. So that's what he was doing on those. So it's almost like if I was Jokic, it's not that hard to train, because you have the 3 or 4 very specific ways where you're going to now attack. And again, offense doesn't have to be that complicated, right? So it's like, it makes sense to me that you can break it down that clearly. So I'm glad that it looks like perfect over on YouTube. It looks like, oh, there is random freezes for someone seeing, because I'm seeing it on my computer, and I really wish I understood what was happening. The question is my audio clean for the whole time? Let's see. Is everybody on Locker Room happy? I guess so. And sorry for all the technical difficulties for right now, but one day we'll figure this out. As it is, it's much nicer to have my AirPods in than having to hold the down phone up to my mouth. Okay, so let's go on to some questions. In Locker Room, I'll give that priority right now, because if you have Locker Room, download the app and get in here, and you can actually request to come on stage and be part of the show. Let's see here. Let me go to my the discussion. Why can't I get to the discussion? There we go. Are we sure? Ritvik Chi asks, are we sure Jason Tatum is better than Jaylen Brown? Brown has looked really strong the last few games. This was not, I didn't set this one up. No, I didn't have a friend of mine say, hey, come on the Locker Room and ask this question, because there's no question. I've been saying that I like Jaylen Brown a lot better. Well, I don't know if I like a lot better than Jason Tatum, but I've been saying he's got the higher ceiling and might be a better player overall than Jason Tatum, who hits the crazy shots and gets a lot of those ISOs at the end of the game and gets a lot of the fanfare. But I don't know. I think that, like, pound for pound, the way Jaylen Brown exists on the floor, I like better. He seems... he's more explosive athletically, which he doesn't necessarily matter too much, only because Tatum is so long and he can overcome other, maybe a slightly less athletic ability than Brown. But there's just something about the way he plays, and he actually, I think, has better visual recognition of the court. So you'll still see Jason Tatum kind of like do a move where as if he's, not being guarded at all and doesn't necessarily realize, oh, there's defenders here I have to deal with, and then just kind of plows into them or ends up with really wild, crazy things. Brown doesn't do that so much, so he almost stays more within himself, and as a result, he just looks better and somebody who might be more reliable actually on the court. So that would be one thing I would say about him. And then defensively, I do think that Brown has much more potential and has shown that he can make a lot of great plays. I'm just kind of curious. Let's go over to the Celtics statistics and check out what they're doing so far this year, because it's been, it's early. It's been, 3 games? And let's see, 4 games. So Jason Tatum, listen, he fills the box score up 25.5 points a game. He's shooting 44% from the field and 38.7% from 3. Now, Jaylen Brown, on the other hand, is at 24.5 points a game. He's 1 point behind, but he's shooting 52% from the field. Now, he's really been struggling from the 3-point line, but I would suspect that would go back up to normal levels, which is about average for him. Let me just check his 3-point percentage. Yeah, he's 37 for his career, and I would imagine he'd get much closer to that as we get going. This is still an early season. So, which shows you, by the way, if he's shooting 26.7% from 3-point land now, that he's just shooting incredibly from anywhere inside there and finishing really well. Now, they both get the same amount of assists, 3.3, and Tatum actually is getting way more rebounds. He's doubling him up on that end, so give him kudos for that. But I just feel like Jaylen Brown, I like a lot better. Not a lot better, but I like him better. And so it's going to be an interesting thing where maybe I'll even do a video like who's better between them, and that would really make Boston Celtics fans go absolutely insane, I'd imagine, right? To have them decide between the 2 top players in their team. The actual Celtics, I'm glad that they came back. I watched the fourth quarter last night of the Pacers game, and the Pacers had beaten them just before this. By the way, keep your eye on the Pacers. They're a good team, but they did completely melt and fall apart, and it was a lot of different things. They have a new coach, and he's still probably trying to figure out rotations because there were some really weird things where they didn't have, like they took T.J. Warren out at some point, even though he was their best scorer when they needed him in the crucial stretch to begin the fourth when they had a lead. They ran a play down 2 with little time on the clock left that was completely. The idea was there where they wanted to do a handoff back to the inbounder, which was Holiday. But they also had on the weak side, but it wasn't weak enough, Brogdon setting a back screen for somebody. And so he was in the way. And so as Holiday comes off the handoff toward the middle, which is nice, or down 2, the defense doesn't want to foul you and put you in the line to tie the game. All of a sudden, Brogdon just sort of standing there. He back screened and didn't get out of there, but the back screen was too close to the midline. And so as a result, Brogdon's man just flies in there and just rips the ball out of Holiday's hands for a steal and a layup to end the game. It's a good to learn that now than it is, in the 80th game or 72nd game when you're trying to make the playoffs at the end of the season. So, but either way, keep your eye on the Pacers because they are very good. I'm going to do a video on Sabonis at some point because here's a guy playing like it's 1993 and he's an all-star for it. It's really incredible in this day and age. And he's really tough. Off the pick and roll, he's very tough being able to give him a pocket pass and he'll finish strong. He punishes you down low on the block where he can score. Let me just check real quick because I feel like he was trying to do threes, but I didn't see him shooting any last night. And I think he's gotten away from that pretty significantly. So on the season, he's taking almost 3 a game, actually, and he's hitting 45%. So forgive me for misstating that. He's averaging almost 22 points a game, grabbing 11 boards, and 7.3 assists. So he's doing sort of the point forward thing as well. He's a good ball handler and he got a good pace and a good recognition of the game. So you put him, we got Warren. You got a tough little team there. Oladipo did well last night as well, although he wasn't very prominent in the fourth quarter. But again, he's nice if he fits into the right role and they have him in the right hierarchy. They're going to disappoint other teams in the East who thought, Indiana, they're going to be right there in that middle of that pack and be a really tough out for anybody in the playoffs. So keep your eye on that. Let's see here. Let's head over to the YouTube side to see if we can get some good questions there. Somebody was talking about Scott Brooks and what his story is. I got to get my eyes a little bit farther, a little bit more deeper on the Wizards because I will say this because I was talking about this with somebody else. basically there's an issue with the offense, which is that the Russell Westbrook sag is so severe that it gets in the way of other people, and it kind of gums up all the work. So they're trying to do on offense. He's getting his triple doubles anyway, and he's not very efficient with it. And they're 0-4. I mean, that's really not good. And when you look at the, let me call up their schedule real quick because I feel like if we look at that, it'll be even more damning. Who they lost to. So they opened losing at Philly. Okay. Then they lost to Orlando Magic twice, and then lost to the Bulls in somewhat convincing fashion, which is just a really bad loss. And then tomorrow they get a chance to make up for it. And this very weird schedule that I don't know. I think it must stand up for the whole season here. But I'm looking at the regular season here, and it looks like they end up playing multiple teams like twice in a row, which is sort of like that baseball side of it. And that's interesting because is it going to be harder to sweep the 2-game series, or is it going to be easier? I don't know. But if they lose to the Bulls again, that's going to be a real red flag. Now, when Scott Brooks got to Washington after being in OKC with Russ and KD all those years, his offense all of a sudden looked better. I think I did a video on it whenever that was a few years ago, and said, "Oh, isn't it interesting that when he gets away from those guys, he's a good coach, right? Who can coach. At least the offense itself looked good." But I think we've kind of gotten back to some stagnation and some issues where he's trying to placate these guys. Now, listen, they don't have Rui, and so that's hurting them as well. They would have won at least one of those games, I'd imagine. He is, very solid and really helps them, and they had been gelling together as a team in the preseason. And all of a sudden, you just remove a starter. It's going to be a thing. So that'll be something. But let's see here. Hopefully the lag isn't too bad over on the YouTube side. Let me just check over here on Locker Room and see. Let's see what we else have. Jalen's free throws have also been atrocious. Yes, the Celtics fans are weighing in. Oh, but wait, we have a super chat on YouTube. Thank you so much. It's from Vunovdu, I guess. Vunovdu. I don't know. Hi, Coach. Love from Italy. Wish you a happy new year. Your impression on Wiseman. Thanks again for your work. So thank you so much for the Italian lira. That's fantastic. And by the way, if you're on the YouTube side and you want to get my attention right away, super chats are the best way to do that. Also, don't forget, I have a new membership. I'm going to drop a really great interview with Drew Hanlon today. If you don't know Drew, he is the an NBA trainer extraordinaire. He works with guys like, Joel Embiid and Bradley Beal. Who else? Jordan Clarkson. Lots of great players. I'm forgetting Kelly Oubre. There's more. Nonetheless, he's a great interview. Gave us some really good insight. So if you're a member of the, I think it is Point Guard or Big Man, those two tiers, then you'll be able to have access to that interview. It's really, really good. So you'll have to check that out. I'm going to post it later on today. Now let's get into the question of Wiseman. He's a future All-Star, without question. He's a future All-Star. The guy, what I like about it was, I kind of liked his release when I saw his jump shot in college in the couple jump shots we got to see, and then some workout stuff. But he's tall. Right, so he generally is obviously going to be guarded by a center who might not want to come out. Certainly in the very beginning of his career. So when he's got time to shoot that, he's pretty good at it. He's shooting he's taking 2 a game. He's shooting over 62% from 3, which is insane, and that won't last because he's got kind of a 2-motion shot. But I do believe it's sustainable, and I think he could continue to shoot really well, and he moves so well. Now, his other problem is he doesn't shoot well from 2-point land. That's his other issue now. He's got to work on finishing. But we have a request over on the locker room, so I don't think you're going to be able to hear this on YouTube, unfortunately. But we'll get through this for some reason. I don't know why. But Mitchell, come on the show. What's happening, my man? It's going okay until I press the wrong button, and then the audio and everything from my phone is not going into my computer, and it's freaking out. But anyhow, how are you doing? Yeah, great question. And Mitchell has just asked me on over on YouTube about the what does this mean for the length of the schedule and how it affects people. I think training and whether or not basically you're talking about the lack of like training camp and preparation. Is that what you're asking? Uh, Great question. So he's wondering if, like, because of the season, the way it's structured, are players going to, like, if they start out hot, can they remain hot that way because of the way that it's structured? And if you start out slow, is there any time to, like, figure out your rhythm and get back into it? All great questions. I think it's interesting because they're playing these games sort of twice in a row. They're probably going to have more opportunities during this year to be in one spot for longer than they would normally be at a regular season, that we have with, 82 game schedule. So in theory, they would have more time if they're struggling to get into the gym, work on their stuff, and all that stuff. These guys are world class athletes, right? So they're going to be able to adjust and to figure these things out generally, and it shouldn't take that long. So I would think that anybody who's struggling in the beginning, certainly it's related to the truncated scheduling and not the ability to not have meaningful practices beforehand. If you don't have all those pickup games that they would usually do for weeks before training camp, that really helps them. And so I suspect that they will get into shape. They will play back into rhythm that way, and there's time for that. And then on the other side is the guys who have started out hot. Again, there's always a regression to the mean no matter what. And so unless it's some really crazy circumstance where Wiseman's going to shoot 60% from three, remember, defenses will adjust as well. So the guys that are doing really well right now, the defenses will do something to muck that up a little bit, even at the cost of maybe like giving up something else to somebody on the team that might be better to see if they can get that guy off rhythm and that would last. So it's a great, interesting situation we're in. But I would suspect we're going to somehow get back to some normal equilibrium, probably about halfway through. All right, let's go to Corey has a super chat. Thank you so much. Should Gary Trent Jr. get Carmelo's minutes? Yes, yes. Again, I didn't set this up. I actually hadn't really been thinking about it, but I watched that Portland game. And Gary Trent Jr. is a beast. And he was a beast last year when he would get minutes. And I think Portland Trailblazer fans are upset with Coach Stotts for not giving him more time. In fact, I kind of want to look this up real quick because I want to know how many minutes he was getting last year. What if I do Gary Trent Jr.? Let's see here. So for Portland last year, he got 22 points, 22 minutes a game, and he averaged 9 points, which would be per 36. That's almost 15. I mean, this year his per 36 is 25 points a game, and he's getting, let's see here, he's getting even less minutes for some odd reason. But he's a beast. There's no question he benefits the team infinitely better than Melo would now. There's no question from all over the court. And so, listen, I don't necessarily need to point out it's only Melo's numbers or Melo's minutes he needs to take. But certainly he needs more minutes from somewhere. Now, I want to check that because I feel like I watched that game and Melo didn't even play in those when I was watching. Let me go check real quick to see what his minutes are right now because I'm curious. Melo's been he played in 2 games, 22.5 minutes a game, so he's not getting a ton of minutes either. And he's shooting 33% from the field, so that's not good either. And he's not really going to contribute much across the board anywhere else. So without question, Gary Trent Jr. Let's do a hashtag free Gary Trent. The question then is well, how many minutes should he get? And so if you look at the minutes played breakdown right now, CJ leads at 38, which is way too many, unfortunately. They need to figure out how to get him to 35, Dame to 35. And by the way, there's 4 minutes for you that Gary Trent could absorb, even in the backcourt like that. Let's see, Derek Jones has been fine. Robert Covington, Nurkic is the guy. He's only been playing less than 28 minutes a game. He's been doing fine as well, but I don't know. Something about Nurkic is gnawing at my brain when you're talking about how this Portland Trailblazers team is going to go forward. He's a really good passer. He's tough as nails down low. He can score down there. I don't think he's taking almost 2 threes a game. He's not hitting many. But there's something about him. It could just very well be defensively that they're struggling. And as Canner, obviously, It's just not his thing. So when you put Enes Kanter in, you got to hope that he's just going to score, his 12, 14 points in his 15 minutes and then negate anything that happens on the other side. But then it ends up being sort of a wash. So you got to be careful with him too. But so I think it's defensively. Now let me see here. If I go to Portland's defensive rating and watch, it's 26th out of 30. And so, to me, if I go through the footage, I'll probably be able to find very specific reasons why, like Nurkic, for instance, is not going to be the guy to help anchor that defense. For them to have any hope of getting to the second round or, beyond, their defense needs to be like 15th. They got to jump up 11 spots. It's only been 4 games. I get it. But my sirens are going off right now about that. And so I wonder if that's the kind of thing where they can upgrade that somehow for a better defense there. And then, they can get less offense because they've got enough firepower with what they have. They need to get better defensively. And I worry, I think that might be Nurkic. So great question, Corey. Oh, BB Coach JW33. Wait, great to see you. Thank you so much. Hey, Coach, does Christian Wood's game remind you of Anthony Davis at all? Happy holidays to you and yours. That's an interesting question. I suppose so. Do they move the same way? Christian Wood might be a little bit more like flexible than Anthony Davis, who's always been a little bit upright and stiff to me. Christian Wood has got some ball handling game to him, got some sort of guard skill to him a little bit more than I would almost say than Anthony Davis, who does have it, but in a little bit more of a traditional sense, where he'll face up in the post from 15, 16, and then he'll do a move. We're seeing Christian Wood from the perimeter do these things and bring the ball up. So I think he's smoother. His rhythm is more, is a little bit more, bouncier. So I really like his game. He doesn't grab rebounds. He's not aggressive enough on the defensive end. So he's going to look amazing on the offensive end alongside James Harden. He should score 20 a game, no problem. And he should grab 10 rebounds a game, easy, no problem. But right now he's not doing that. So if he can start to focus a little bit more on that, and it's not that hard to grab a rebound here or there when you're focusing on it. Just ask Russell Westbrook if you're talking about just in terms of numbers and the box score. But right now, when I checked it the other day, it was low. Let me just see if it's gone up at all. If I type in Christian Wood, let's see here. Christian Wood is averaging, in 40 minutes a game, he's averaging 8 rebounds. It should be more. He should average more than 8 rebounds a game in 40 minutes. So in the 2 games they played. So that's an issue that he needs to shore up. But I think that if they do, then he's averaging 27 right now. I don't know if he can keep it up that high, but he should score 20, 25, 23, 24 easy because Harden is going to set him up. But you know what? He can also attack out of that offense from the perimeter and then even get down low and score. So he's good. He's a really good player, and there's a great pickup for him. They got him for practically nothing. So great question, BB Coach JW33. Keep your eye on Chris Wood. I think he might even come on the show one of these days. Colin Anthony, thank you. Let's see here. Do you think that LA could struggle in the postseason against star bigs like Jokic or Gobert? Even Nurkic and Kanter beasted them the other night. No, I think that LA. Wait, are we talking about the Clippers? Right? Is that what we're talking about? Or we're talking about no, because Nurkic and Kanter beasted against the Lakers the other night, right? If I'm not mistaken. Am I going crazy? So wait, let me make sure that's right, really quickly. But yeah, it's the Lakers he's talking about, right? Schedule. Yeah, right. They play the Clippers tonight, actually. So I don't think the Lakers are going to be good. They're going to be as good as they were last year. I'm not worried about them really at all. I know LeBron's a year older, and there's again there's moments when he's struggling a little bit more. But I don't know. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I feel like they're going to be able to figure it out and play well. I mean, I like the way Schroeder is fitting in so far, and now they have this guy Taylor Horton Tucker, who is very solid, very, very good. And just another good guard. So I would suspect they're going to be fine. And again, they're just going to be dealing with, trying to find rest for everybody, get them through the season so they have that championship experience. So don't be surprised on that end to see them, do just almost as well, or if as well as they did last year. James Lopez, wow, thank you. Let me do a quick check on the locker room, which shut down on me for a second. Oh, I got a question there. Oh, let me get to James Lopez first because you are a super chatter. Again, thank you. Is Lonzo Is Lonzo disappointing or is he a bust? Thank you, Coach. I look forward to your videos. I don't think he's disappointing, but wait, let me do a quick. What I've seen a little bit of their games, there's too many games. That's the other thing. There's so many games on every night now. I can't keep up. So I've seen a little bit of them, and right now let's just go through his stat line. 11.3 points per game, 3.5 assists, 3.8 rebounds. He's shooting 37% from the field and 28.6 from three on 7 attempts per game. Let's give him 15 games. New system, new coach. The players are different a little bit. Let's give him a little bit of time. The one thing I noticed, because they looked really good in stretches, but it's Bledsoe is kind of the buzzkill here. So if Stan Van Gundy can kind of curtail those or figure out better lineups for him, then I think that we'll see everybody play better. So right now, what are they? They are, what is their record? Oh, let me go back to New Orleans real quick. So New Orleans is 2-2, right? And, this might be where they are, like around the 500 mark. We'll see. But Lonzo, I do think, I still have hope that he's got a lot of IQ. He's got a lot of ability. So I think that he can do it. He just might take a little bit longer to get warmed up here. And as is, a lot of players for this weird start of the season, especially when you have a new coach. So I would not say he's a bust. Let's see here. We got some questions over on Locker Room. So don't forget, every Wednesday and every Sunday, I'm here at 11 a.m. Pacific time for an hour to do a show for you. And if you don't have the Locker Room app, if you have your iPhone, download it. You can chop it up. You can jump on like we had one. And, and the next time I do this on YouTube, if I do it on YouTube, I will make sure somehow to get this audio into you so you can hear him speaking. But nonetheless, what are your thoughts on Philly's whole team situation? That's a good question. My thoughts on Phillies, I don't know. I just feel like there's something missing. I think I just saw them win. Right? Where's my schedule? I have my other window open. I just watched the Philly play a little bit. Oh, against the Raptors. Yeah, the Raptors kind of crapped the bed as well. That was sort of a frustrating game to watch on their end. So I suppose they're figuring some things out. I've been on record for a little while saying I don't think the Embiid and Simmons thing is going to work ultimately if you want a championship. But they are there's something there, and Tobias has been shooting better recently. So if they can figure some of these things out, they can compete. But then, it's interesting because now the Nets are the cream of the East. And I know that they lost 2 in a row, but they were missing both Kyrie and KD on one of those games, and they were missing, I think, one of them on one of the losses. So I've already seen what I had to see for the Nets to know if they're healthy and in the playoffs. I don't think any of these teams are going to beat them in the East. So, now you got Philly and Boston trying to have to figure out, what are they going to do? What do they have? And can they compete with that or not? And so it's an interesting question. Who is above who? Is Boston above Philly or is it the other way around? I don't know, but there's something about that. I need more footage on my eyeballs just to really get a handle on it. But I don't know. I'm just worried about the Philadelphia 76ers, and I don't know if they're like, conference finals material. Maybe right now, maybe they can get the second round, maybe. But I'm going to do for sure. I'm going to do a video, so don't keep your eyes out for that. Let's see here. Oh, news, but it's not really that. Daquan Jeffries has suffered a grade 3 left ankle sprain. Okay, good to know. Okay, let's go back to, I think there's a question here. Oh, yes, more. Oh, my goodness. More super chats. Thank you so much. Hopefully you guys can still hear me over on YouTube, but it's not too laggy. But let's get to the questions here. Sean Steo, thank you for so much. Is there any team that Russell Westbrook could realistically end up with that would allow him to contend for a title? The Lakers. It's tough because Russell Westbrook is Russell Westbrook, and he will put his imprint on that team. If you could have him as if you could have him as a microwave off the bench, then on a good team, then that would probably work. And give him his 24 minutes a game and let him score 20 points a game in 24 minutes or whatever. But I just don't think it's possible for him to play the role that he normally plays and a team like that win the championship. I just don't. It's just there's too many issues with just terrible decision making, inefficiency, and and then that's it. But those two things at that position, when you're playing that much, that kind of usage, is going to hold you back to the ultimate crown. Let's see here. BB Coach JW33, again, a super fan of the breakdown. How do you explain the Raptors' slow start? Is their run with their current personnel over? I need to watch the Raptors more. I saw some mistakes that they made that were last night down the stretch that were really like Kyle Lowry was bringing the ball up. Maybe they're down by 2 and just sort of was going to throw the ball, but then got it stolen from him and taken, and they scored. I mean, it was just like, what is going on? It looked like a complete mess, and no one was on the same page. So I have to imagine that if there's any team that's suffering from lack of preparation, it's probably the Toronto Raptors. Nick Nurse is a really great coach, but there's a notion of, having a full training camp and be able to implement what he wants to coach, because he likes to actually coach and really get these guys executing. So there's a real problem there. Now, is the run over? It's probably, like, would Lowry help somebody coming off the bench on a really good team? Yes, for sure. He could do that sort of Rondo thing in a different way for what that the Lakers got last year that went to the title. So does that mean, because they have Fred VanVleet already there? I'm going to check real quick, so I'm kind of curious what Fred VanVleet's doing himself after that big contract. So Fred VanVleet's averaging in 3 games, about 15 points a game, shooting 36% from the field and 32 from 3. He's taking 9 threes a game, but he's getting 6 assists, so that's good. Now, where's Kyle Lowry? Okay, so Kyle Lowry's at 19, and he's shooting 42% from the field and 39 from 3. So he's doing his normal work and almost 10 assists a game. So it's interesting. I don't know. I got to get a look at this. I wanted to see if Pascal Siakam has improved at all. What I did see in quick glimpses was it didn't necessarily strike me that he's added something to his game, and he's more refined than he was last year, which is good, but it's still like they needed another level from him. And then OG is doing what OG does, which is, 13 points a game, 52% from the field, solid from three-point land at 35% on almost 6, and grabbing some boards. So, obviously the center position for them is one of those things. Alex Len, is a guy who you can throw out there for, off the bench for 18 minutes tops. Who's starting for them at center then? Aaron Baines. Aaron Baines, again, is not a starting center on a great team. Good piece, but no. So, it might be a personnel thing, not necessarily related to like Lowry or anything like that, but certainly just like they're shorthanded at the center position, and Siakam needs to make another jump if they're going to go anywhere. And so those two things keep your eye on, but it doesn't look great so far. Okay. So buzzer beater, thank you, and guys, again, thank you so much over on YouTube for all the great super chats. Again, if you want your question up there, then just throw it out there, and I'll give you a big shout out and get your question answered as quickly as I can. Buzzer beater asks, I've heard you use the term "in the flat." What does it mean? What does it mean? Well, to me, you know what? Gosh, I don't know if I use it that often, but when I do, I'm probably using it as like a football term. So in the flat is like when you throw and by the way, I do not like football anymore anyway. I'm morally opposed because of CTE and whatnot, but and just the way it's coached generally. But when you throw the ball, a football pass into the flat, which is like into the open area on the other side of the field, kind of, like not a skip pass. Gosh, I've forgotten all my football. What's it called? Not a swing pass. Wow, I'm going to have to scroll down here, and someone's going to tell me in football what it's called, if I can. Let's see here. What is that called? The quarterback drops back even farther, and then kind of just loops the ball over to the running back who's like in the flat. Anyway, the in the flat would be that open area, sort of. It's not a skip pass across to the weak side. It's on the same side of the floor, but as he releases, like usually off of a pick and roll, and then they kind of loop the pass to him there. That's sort of what I'm evoking. So it's a screen pass. There you go, a screen pass in football. And I'm sorry, a screen pass to the flat is what I'm referencing. So dump off pass, all those things, shuffle pass. No, not necessarily a shuffle pass, because that would be like almost like a push off like that. I'm talking about the one that loops a little bit higher, and the guy's going to kind of run and wait for it a little bit. So that's sort of what I mean. But that's awesome that you're watching the video so closely that you can remember that, because I don't think I do it that much with that term. But that's awesome. Thank you, Buzzer Beater. Great question. Let's see here. Let me go over to the Locker Room app to see if we have some questions here. Chase Martell, does the addition of CP3 make Phoenix a real threat in the West, or are they just on a hot streak right now? Are they a real threat? Well, let's discuss here what we got, because again, Phoenix is another team I've watched like for a minute, and I've got to watch a whole game really with my eyes open. But they're 3-1. Let's just discuss what they have on their roster, because it's a good question. You got Devin Booker, all-star, terrific, can score from anywhere, not shooting well from three, is apparently upset about getting double teamed. Again, I guess there's a weird thing about him and double teams. Hey, he likes to play socially distanced. I get it totally. I always like Mikal Bridges defensively, long arms. He can shoot the three as a 3-and-D guy. So he's one of those good, really solid pieces on a good team. A good third, fourth guy. Chris Paul is going to be Chris Paul. He's not shooting well, but he's going to make good decisions consistently for you. DeAndre Ayton is another good, really solid player. He can shoot from in the mid range. Let's see, is he shooting any threes this year? No. And he can bang, he can grab some boards, he can block some shots. So solid, good. Jay Crowder got to the finals of the Miami Heat. A good piece on a good team, but it's got to be your 5th, 6th, 7th guy. Cam Johnson, athletic. He's doing really nicely. 15.5 points a game coming off the bench in only 23.5 minutes. So keep your eye on. So that might be my breakout star guy too. I've got a couple of guys I want to do videos on for breakouts, and Cameron Johnson might be one of those guys because one of the guys in Atlanta is not coming through for me. I was hoping for right now. Not in the way I was hoping for. So they have a good team. It's not quite there, but they're close. They're close. They're almost there. Now, Dario Saric has not played much. He played in, one game. And anyone tell me what his injury issue is? I saw something in Twitter the other day, and I can't remember. He is very big because he's a very versatile guy who can do a lot of things for them. He's a really good passer, can shoot the three a little bit, can handle the ball, can bang. So they're almost there. So Phoenix Suns fans, you should be really excited about the possibilities of them certainly being in the playoff hunt and maybe surprising somebody in that first round for sure. So I'm excited to really get on my eyes in there. The suffering Suns fans deserve a good product, and they're going to get one this year. Let's see here. Let's go back to the locker room real quick. Thank you, locker room, for giving me the answers too. Let's see. Derek Siebert, you mentioned Pels looking like a 500 team. What surprises, breakouts could put them above that? That's a good question. So obviously, Zion is. Let me just get there because I feel like he is not playing as well. Well, hang on. Before I speak out of turn, let me get to there because I was looking at them a little bit. But again, so Zion is doing Zion things, 23 points a game and 7 rebounds, 6.5 assists. So he's doing his thing. Oh my God, I'm looking at Brandon Ingram. Zion's 21 and he's over 53% from the field and not shooting threes, which is fine. And Brandon Ingram is the guy that's doing the 6.5 assists per game and getting 7 boards and looking relatively good. So the question then is, let's see here, what could break them out? So I think Brandon Ingram and Zion are doing their work. I think Lonzo will have to play better and shoot better. But again, it's Eric Bledsoe. He's getting 30 minutes a game. He's scoring 9 points a game. He's shooting below 37%, below 29 from three. And he's not shooting that many free throws. So it's just it's just in decision making that you can't see in the box score from him. So that's the problem. They kind of need to figure out another guy to play that position, and Josh Hart is not that guy as a starter. So they're kind of missing that guy really. And so I don't know who that would be. I guess you throw J.J. Redick in there. That might actually be the way to go. Go Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, Lonzo Ball, J.J. Redick, and Steven Adams. I like Steven Adams on this team, by the way. I like how he fits in. And at the best moments I've seen them, he's been out there with them and doing his thing. So that would be all that's all good. Now, Stan doesn't like to play the younger players as much as far as I remember from, his past. Because the guy, by the way, Nikola Jokic is not even a younger guy, and I don't think he's playing well at all. But he's such a solid guy, and he can shoot really well. That he really should be getting more than 13 minutes a game. So we might have to rely on Stan to just sort of figure out the lineups better, and then he's just sort of experimenting right now. But after about 10 games, he better get it locked in. That's what I would do. I'd give Melly more minutes. I'd cut Bledsoe's minutes to 20. Maybe put Redick in the starting lineup. And ride that. That would probably give them another boost. So, let's see here. All right, here we go. Well, let's see. Any other questions you have for me? Let's go. I guess we'll turn towards the chat over here. Nickeil Alexander-Walker should get more minutes. There's no question that Stan Van Gundy would have gone through the footage with him last year and been like, nah, I'm not giving him minutes. Primarily because he would literally shoot the ball before it got into his hands sometimes. And so I could see Stan not being into that at all. So that's why he's probably not getting that many more minutes. But you know what? He can score. He's got some ability. But here's another one that's really good. Halliburton on Sacramento. I went through some of his footage. He's terrific. I loved him. I don't know if I loved him, but I really pointed him out in my breakdown of the of draft picks. Just really under control, very polished, looks really good. His three-point shot's a two-motion shot. And what I mean by that, it kind of pauses here at the top, and then he kind of launches it without any rhythm from the legs. That, to me, is not sustainable. If you go to his, I looked at his numbers before, but let me see if I can call him up really quickly. Here it is. He's shooting 50% from 3 on 4 attempts, but they're mostly wide open. And you're susceptible to, when you kind of stop here and then launch it from there, the defense coming at you and faking and shocking and pressuring you can throw that off a lot easier. And so he's not going to shoot 50% from 3 on 4 attempts the rest of the whole season. I just don't think it's possible for him. Could it be 35? Yeah. And if the defense really starts to scout him and starts taking things away, he's going to have to adjust that, I think, and fix that rhythm better. But man, he's got a nice polished floater game. He makes good passes to the pocket passes to the pick and roll guy. I mean, he's averaging 5.3 assists in 27 minutes a game as a rookie. That's terrific. And meanwhile, the Kings, oh my goodness, are 3-1, right? With another big win. They had a crazy win with Heald. They had another big win, I think, last night. Wasn't that what I was watching last night? Oh, yeah, they beat Denver, kind of going away. And then Worldwide Wob pointed out on Twitter last night, it was hilarious, when you get a turnover if you hold the ball, when you're up by 10 points and there's like 30 seconds left on the clock and you're not going to shoot it, and so you have to let the shot clock wind down. I think that's stupid. They should just let the guy shoot it. But now that said, they don't want to miss on their field goal percentage either. So if they hold the ball, it's a turnover on them, and you could see them calling out the rookie to hold the ball at the shot clock buzzer, Tyrese Halliburton, so he gets a turnover because Heald didn't want it, and De'Aaron Fox, whoever else out there, didn't want to get that turnover. That was hilarious. But it's also it's totally against the notion of team. So whatever, they won. Let's see here. What else can we talk about as we wrap this up in the next 10 minutes? Let's see. Do you think that defensive spacing will be more emphasized? I don't know. What does that mean, defensive spacing? I don't know. Interesting. Let's see. I'm just going to scroll through here and see if there's any interesting questions here. Oh, James Lopez. Is there any value listening to ESPN and TNT analysis? Do they know basketball? That came up, I saw on Twitter too. I think Nikias was talking about that and lamenting that. And people want to say, well, the TNT thing is just, what is it? It's entertainment, right? So, let's get the casual fans in on the entertainment side. They don't need the hard, hitting. But his argument was, and I agree with him, that it could be both. Listen, I could do a video every Thursday, every Friday, fixing the breakdown that Kenny does during halftime of the show, like telling you what really is going on that he's sort of misstating. It's not good. Like, most of the information is not really great. It's not really accurate on the TNT side. You got to wonder about, Chris Webber really kind of seems to struggle. He's a very nice guy and he's trying as hard as he can, but he struggles. And I'm not making that up. I mean, he trends on Twitter every game he does because they're frustrated with him. So is it worth it? Like, I'll tell you, I don't listen to ESPN. I guess I'll have it on, but I'm usually going through clips and whatever. I don't really listen to what they're saying. I don't really watch TNT much. So if you want to take that for what it's worth, it's I would say, like, my videos, if that's what you want, would actually have the kind of information you're looking for. Maybe they should just hire me and I'll do it at halftime for them. But you never know. One day. Oh, and Buzzer Beater, thank you so much for the super chat. Is there a question? I guess no. But either way, thank you for being so gracious during this holiday season. I hope everyone's safe and able to celebrate whatever they can in a very safe manner. Please don't have a big, New Year's Eve party with everybody indoors without masks. Please do not do that. Let's see here. Any other questions over on Locker Room? Yes. what's your analysis of Taurean Prince? You know, it's funny. He came up before the season because I kind of felt like he was a good defender, like a kind of guy they're going to like on the Nets. And I was talking to some of the Hawks guys. They're like, no, he's not good at all. But I'm seeing some good effort, probably because he realizes, oh, my God, if I don't put out effort on the defensive end, I'm not going to get a lot of time. So I think he's got the ability to be a good defender. And he certainly can score. So the question then is, you know, what's going to happen now that Spencer is out, which is just a brutal, my thoughts are with Spencer Dinwiddie right now, and I can hope he gets a quick recovery. It's just so brutal to have that happen to him right in the beginning of the year when it's so promising. And part of it was because of him. It's an extra ball handler they have in the starting lineup that really makes them good. So does that mean like Taurean Prince is going to get some more time there and get some more opportunities? Like probably everyone bumps up a little bit higher. So I like him, and so I think that if he can play that role where he's just like I don't know if you can say a lockdown defender, but like totally high energy defender making plays on that end, and then he can kind of do what he needs to do, especially alongside Kyrie and KD. He should get some easy shots. He should be very solid and at least somebody that can mitigate the loss of Spencer because it's devastating for them. Yoban asks, "What do you think is the problem with the Warriors?" Well, I don't think there's a problem with the Warriors. They're 2-2 now, and they've had a crazy ending to one game against the Bulls, who don't look very good at all. And then they have another, a decent win last night. So I think that part of it was Steph just was missing a lot of wide open shots, which changes the tenor of the game completely. And he was shot much better last night, and they won. So I think that's part of it, and I think obviously getting Draymond Green is important. Like it'll help them significantly, and they can stay in the hunt for that playoff spot. So I think that they're right where we're probably expecting them all to be. Coach Nick, what do you think about the New York Knicks? Looks like Emmanuel Quickley from Kentucky was running their offense and looked awesome. Knox had a game with 7 3-pointers made. Yeah, no, Quickley looks good. I watched some clips of him 7 or 8 days ago, whatever that was, and he looks really good, really solid. So, I mean, he could be Rookie of the Year, primarily because he's going to get most of the opportunities, or more opportunities than most rookies. So he looks really good, very solid. Again, like the Halliburton and Quickley, these guys are polished and they're not intimidated. So that's good. Knox, he's going to have to prove it to me. You know, I've liked the little bits I've seen of him in the last couple of years, the little highlights here, like, oh, there is something here. He could do this. Can he put it all together? So I like what he's doing. What are the Knicks? What's the Knicks record right now? I'm kind of curious. If I go to the New York Knicks, where are you, New York Knicks? 2-2. So yeah, that's a promising start. I think that there was even a record, a stat that said they hadn't been 2-2 after 4 games for a long, long time, which is sad. But yeah, I mean, you know, I'm anxious to see if they can hold this up. I mean, I think there's an opportunity for them to hang around the 500 mark. We'll see, but you know, let me see the schedule so far, who they played. So they lost to the Pacers. Again, keep your eye on the Pacers. They're good. They lost to the Sixers. Okay. Oh yeah, they beat the Bucks at a blowout. And we haven't talked about the Bucks and the Heat. Let's talk about that for the last couple minutes, shall we? So, did anybody watch that game? You turned it on. Okay, let's watch the Heat and the Bucks. It's a rematch. Okay, great. Well, the Bucks took it pretty seriously, but it's also they were just out of their minds. Like they're not going to shoot that way again. They broke the record for threes, and it wasn't even the notion of the number of threes. It was the percentage. Which let me get that out there because I just want to before I say it out loud. I want to make sure I get it right. Where is it? Bucks Heat box score. It was. The Bucks went 29 for 51. They shot 57% from 3. I mean, it's insane. They were unconscious. But they also were hitting mid ranges as well. They were unconscious. They shot 55% overall from the field. The Heat could do nothing at all defensively to stop them. But Giannis, by the way, did not look very good. You know, he went 3 for 9, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. It got out of hand so quickly they didn't really matter, but there were some plays there where he did it like a sort of a drive to the hoop into 2 guys and just crashes into them and misses the shot. It was like you didn't see the 2 guys standing there right in front of you. He definitely plays that way, and I think the thing is he gets away with it, or it works for him where there'll be a guy in front of him, maybe another guy, and he'll just sort of plow right through them. And he's susceptible to committing charges or to turning the ball over in those ways or awkward shots. But he also can then, dunk on them and finger roll and get up above them sometimes too. So I just kind of scratch my head. I just feel like it's weird. He's lacking some skill that would make it a lot easier for him. And it rears its ugly head every so often. Not all the time. Most of these games, he's going to score 29 points a game, get his 8 assists or 7 assists and 10 rebounds. He's filled up the box score. It's great. But you'll see in those games still these kind of forays to the rim where he's like he just ignores the defense. But the problem is the defense is allowed to have something to say about it. So I don't know. I'm concerned about that in the sense that when we're looking at this in the terms of a playoff thing, what does that mean? Can can they win in the playoffs? And that's the big question. And I don't know if I feel any different now than I did then. I love Drew Holiday, and I like what he's doing for their team, so that'll help. And the absence of Bledsoe helps. So, so maybe. But he's going to have to, I think he needs to clean a little bit of that up. Buzzer Beater, thank you so much. So you're back. Can you tell me how the Knicks blew out the Bucks? How do you feel about Toppin? So the Knicks blew out the Bucks. I feel like somebody was missing on the Bucks in that game. Can I get that? Let me see if I can grab that thing. Did I watch that game? I watched part of it, didn't I? Hang on. Let me just see if I can remind myself. And by the way, what's funny is that you'll listen to these radio shows or these whatever on ESPN, and like these guys will be able to sort of expertly speak on any game anyone asks them to talk about, and like I don't know. All I do all day is stare at games and watch clips and watch footage, and it's impossible. Like a game from 2 days ago, without having to quickly review, I don't know how anyone's really going to speak expertly unless it's like with the one team they follow the whole season long. So they had their full team, but a quick look at the box score was they just struggled mightily from 3. Oh, I think that was it. And the Knicks shot out of their minds from 3. So you have to remember, I had done this last year, and I need to keep adding to it. But there's something like if you score, I think it's like seven more threes than the other team, then you're like an 85% chance that you're going to win. Now the Knicks hit 16 threes in the shot out of their minds, and the Bucks hit 7. So they made 9 more, and that's 9 more, yeah. And so that's basically, that's 90% chance of winning no matter what. Because think about that, that's 27 point of an advantage behind the line that they're getting that it's really hard to make up anywhere else. And if the Knicks don't go crazy with the turnovers, which they did in 15-11, then that's one way. And then if the Bucks don't go completely nuts on offensive rebounding, which they did, they got 17 of them, but I'm suspecting they didn't put them back. So that's the big thing. I have a feeling that they took them completely lightly, the Bucks, and just sort of weren't really thinking the Knicks were going to be any kind of threat to them, and that doesn't help either. And so that would have been a good breakdown. I think we're a little bit past that, but keep your eye on that. I'm going to keep my eye on the Bucks to see if they're for real or not, because there's just something about it that's a little bit concerning to me. The way Giannis plays. Again, the way he plays will get him a lot of points, a lot of assists, a lot of rebounds, and they'll get a lot of wins. But remember, I'm always looking at this in the crucible of the playoffs, and can they excel past the second round of the playoffs into the third round or the finals? So, well, great show, everybody. One last quick look at the chat over on Locker Room. So many bricks last game for Prince. Seems like his opportunities will be there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Prince is ever going to be like a good shooter or not, but he certainly will get the opportunities. And let's go check over on the live stream and see anything exciting popping up over here. But again, that's our show pretty much. Every Wednesday, every Sunday, I will be here 11 a.m. Pacific time for the immediate future over on Locker Room, and then I'll do this on YouTube every so often if I'm feeling a little naughty. And I guarantee you I'll get that black thing on the side of my screen to actually show something and be able to hear something next time. So don't forget, if you're on the Locker Room app, you can then ask me questions audio-wise, and we can chop it up a little bit for a few minutes. I'm always open to that. And Ghost in the Robot, I love you too. Thank you so much for everybody being here. And I don't know, that's about it, Coach sports fans. So don't forget, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we are a conversation. You in?